Well, people are getting a bit tired of it now. After Swansea, we'll play well and we'll be okay. After Watford, play like that and we'll be okay. Blackburn, the same story. And now after Sheffield United, people are saying we'll play like that and be okay. But Ryan says, when is the okay bit going to start? There's 8 consecutive losses. The points are king. So our title, of course, this week on Where Pompey Walkers, we need points, not plaudits. Plus, who won the transfer window? Some people are suggesting that Pompey did all right. Was that the case? We're going to ask these panel here for their view on that. Who's been the worst ever Portsmouth manager? Let us know in the comments a bit later on when we get to that. And it's Valentine's week, of course, this week. So we're asking our panel here, how did they first fall in love with this fantastic football team known as Portsmouth FC? Thank you for all your comments. Of course, last week when we were talking about Colby Bishop and his goal-scoring issues, and Sam, it's exactly that same point that we start on this week, I am afraid. Look at this particular graphic, which has been posted, of course, on that. And Jay again says, am I allowed to say I think Bishop needs a break? And also this, where's my other one with this flag? There we go. Yeah, you also posted this one as well. Bishop needs a break. Jay, if you're watching this, I think that's absolutely brilliant. Right, come on then, Sam. Something's just not happening with you, man.
Yeah, I was really hoping we could start this podcast with a different story, but it just seems to be he just needs that goal because he's clearly lacking in confidence. I think once he gets that first, we know he's a great player. So I think he just needs to get that goal and then he'll go on a bit of a run. But he had 2 at least, I think, on Saturday. And it could have been a different game, but when it's not going for you, it's not going for you.
Yeah, if you just come across the channel, we talk about Portsmouth every single week, just 20 minutes of reviewing games. We're not harsh on players, we're not. So we're not digging out Bishop here. And just to balance it out, Phil, Ben said, Colby Bishop might have lost his shooting boots at the moment, form his temporary, class is permanent, but no one else can replace what he gives to this team. He bullies Championship centre-backs every week and creates so much. The goals will return for him soon. So, Phil, against Cardiff, does he get his break?
I hope so. It'll come. That's the thing. It's difficult this time of the season, but patience is key. But he's, as I was saying last week, for me, he's stepped up when he's needed to in the past. Okay, yesterday he had a couple of chances which he knows himself he should have taken those. But from my point of view, I will maintain faith in him. So, yeah, that's all I've got to say.
Jake, it is a huge week for Portsmouth. We seem to say that every single week on here, don't we? But you should have beaten Sheffield United. You should have won. You should have won away. You were the better side. They themselves said they don't know how they got 3 points from that. So if you can do that against Sheffield United, you can do that against Cardiff, and you can do that against Oxford, and we can sit here with 6 points next week, can't we?
This is Pompey we're talking about. But no, I mean, we were brilliant. And it wasn't just Bishop that missed chances. Ogilvy had a really good chance as well as a couple of others. So yeah, as that first tweet said, points are king, and we do keep playing really well and not getting anything out of it. So let's just hope we play poorly and get a scrappy 1-0 win on Tuesday night.
Yeah, Sasha, you were at Bramall Lane, I believe. Yes. Frustrating for you again. Is it nice to hear people on the radio and they're saying Portsmouth deserve better and deserve more, but doesn't yield any more points, these plaudits, do they?
No, you can have all the praise in the world, but it doesn't give us 3 points. But I think Sheffield United did exactly what we did to most teams last season. There were so many occasions where we weren't the better side. We probably didn't deserve to win, but we just found a way. And that's why I'm 100% sure that they're going to be finishing in them top 2 places.
Okay. Sam, let's look at some more tweets from this one. Bishop again can't afford to be missing chances like that. Ryan says the good news is we're staying up. We are rancid away form aside. I do genuinely believe that we will be on the correct side of the dotted line. I'm just under no illusions of how close it's going to be. Yeah, 15 games now or so left then, Sam. I think you're going to be okay, but then I don't watch all your games. I just watch the highlights and listen to you guys talk. Are you gonna be okay, Sam?
Well, yesterday was probably one of the better performances that we've had away from home in a long, long time. At least Sasha could actually watch a full game a football for at least 80 minutes yesterday, so that was decent for the fans that travelled. I think we'll be fine. The marker, I believe, is 46 points, and we have 15 games to go. That's a point a game. We should be okay. I mean, panic stations will probably start round about games with 7 games left to go. But I mean, 16 points from 15 games, we should do all right. We should be there.
Okay. Sam, Derby County sacked Paul Warne this weekend, which does mean now that of the bottom 9 clubs following Swansea's win, 10 clubs now in the following Swansea's win today, that you are the only team to have their manager who started the season still currently there. What does that say about the board, and what does that say about Mousinho himself, do you think?
I think it just highlights the faith we have in him. I think out of those players that he's got, I'm not saying it's a bad team at all, but I think he is the best man to get the best out of them, especially with how we've played at home this season. But I'm worried about Derby with sacking Paul Warne, because they were kind of just sleepwalking into relegation. But now I'm hearing stuff like John Eustace maybe coming in and wanting to talk to them, which could see them have a bit of a boost, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Okay. Do drop us a like, please, if you are convinced that Portsmouth are going to stay up, and if you do believe that was the best away performance of the season, drop us a like, especially this Valentine's week as well. Come on, show us some love. Phil, one of the reasons that Pompey are going to stay up is because people believe they've had a good transfer window. In the end, people were a little bit worried 2 weeks ago, I think, on here, weren't we? Can we have a quick look at it and get your early thoughts as to? Oh, not that one. That one. We'll look at that in a minute. As to how you did overall. This is from Sky, so Sky is not always going to be correct. Did you get in exactly in terms of personnel what you needed?
I won't comment on players until I've seen them all play, but
yeah, sure.
I mean, obviously some of them have been involved already. I think we signed players for the positions we needed signings for, so that's good. It's just it's just now letting them actually play and get used to our team and see how they got on. I'm reasonably confident. There is an argument we've done it on the cheap. I will accept that argument, but for me, yeah, I will support the players. I'm not going to write them off until give them a chance,
Okay. So 4-0 written all over it, which is obviously a fantastic read and fantastic listen, said this about it. Jake, if I can ask you to kind of, as I read through these, just nod your head and say whether you agree. Sasha too. They started off by saying it was 8 solid additions to the squad. Adil from Sunderland and Hayden Matthews are particularly eye-catching arrivals. Jake, are they?
Yeah, I think Hayden Matthews is very highly rated. Adil, as we said last week, probably would be in the Sunderland squad if other people weren't available. So yeah, I would say they are particularly eye-catching for us anyway, and where we are at the moment.
Sasha, the second point on here to you, please. We didn't drag our heels on Sorensen, Lowry and Stevenson can now play football elsewhere. Norris and Moxon have good moves away, plus McIntyre on loan. Were they all positives? Some were saying Norris should have stayed.
Yeah, I mean, sorry. Yeah. Norris, I absolutely love Norris. It's a shame because he just kind of fell down the pecking order. He became third choice, and a keeper of that quality, he should be playing week in, week out for a team. And I think, going to a team that are looking to push to be playing in the Championship next season is great for him. McIntyre definitely needed a move on loan elsewhere. I do feel like that's a good move from us. Moxon, I was kind of surprised about. I've always been a fan of Moxon when he played. So to see him go, I was a bit shocked. But it's a similar story. We have a lot of really good midfielders at the club, and he's not guaranteed to be playing not even half the games in a season. So hopefully for him, he can. Is it Charlton that he's at now? Yeah, I just hope Stockport. He's at Stockport, and I hope he just kicks on and gets promoted with them.
Sam, the third point was Connor Shaughnessy feeling like a new signing.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. He's come back into the squad. I think we were talking a couple of weeks ago how he was on his way out, but him coming back, and it's definitely rejuvenized. Made our backline better. It's definitely made our backline better.
Good stuff. Other Sam, recognisable centre-back pairings now back at Mousinho's disposal. Who'd have thought we'd been saying that in February?
Yeah, definitely, especially with Matthews coming in as well, and obviously Shock Messi coming to be fit again. It's like means we haven't got to rely on Pack week in, week out on centre back. He didn't do a bad job at home, but it was the away performances which really costing us in the end. And obviously we've got Atkinson there. And I'm glad that Towler didn't get sent out. I'd rather out of him and McIntyre, he was the one that stayed because it gives us another option on the left side. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how we're looking at the back at the minute.
Okay. Their final comment was that on Monday at 11 when it shut, that it had gone from a decent window to a good window for Pompey. How many of you would agree that it is a good window for Pompey, just as a show of thumbs, or you can waver in the middle?
Yeah,
we got 5.
So, yeah.
Oh, we got a waver, Sam. Yeah.
I agree. I agree with Phil. We just have to see those players play first before we can really make a true judgment.
Don't
I
you
think from what we've seen so far, though, it's promising. Like I say, having Atkinson at the back's made a difference for Shaughnessy. Matthews looks good, comfortable on the ball when he's been coming in. Adil yesterday not bad. So yeah, the signs are there. Let's just hope and pray it works out.
All right. We will be back in a month's time to give you your final gradings on it once we've given you a chance to see them all. So that'll be fair. Right then, thank you very much for all that. In the last 3 weeks, if you've been joining us, this team have put together their worst ever Portsmouth 11. We now need to give it its worst ever Portsmouth manager. Before that, though, let's have a look at. Wrong button. That's what they put together. I mean, this team would get relegated, wouldn't it, Phil? I mean, let's just run through it. Allsop, Dickinson, Downing, Sonko, Talbot, Morris, Sean Williams, Lauren Robert, Gary Medin, Pennant, Cornelius. Oh, I think I'm sure if I've got some wrong there.
We've got a couple of randoms in there, but
yeah, I've got that. Got that completely wrong. I feel like I've messed up the strikers there a little bit, but we'll need to put the right strikers in for next week. Apologies for that. But who on there that's correct, Phil, would be the captain of this awful team?
God, what an honour. Bryn Morris.
Yeah, agreed.
We'll get that right. I'll put that right for next week. What about the worst ever Portsmouth managers, though? We need a manager to lead this. We need this lineup. Jake, for you, who's been the worst ever?
Richie Barker for me. Richie Barker definitely. Watching that dross in League Two is awful, and he wasn't. Every time he came on and done an interview afterwards, I just didn't like him as a bloke either. So, for me, absolutely him.
Okay, Sasha, you nodding along with that?
Yeah, 100%. We nearly got relegated out of the Football League with that guy in charge, and yeah, it was terrible.
Okay. Sam?
Back in our Premier League days after Redknapp left, Alan Perrin was kind of hailed as like the French Messiah after Redknapp left, and I think he won 4 games. So, yeah, him.
Sam?
But, yeah.
Not necessarily the worst, but one I just really didn't like at all was Kenny Jackett. I think he's just literally emotionless, and towards the end of his tenure, I think the football was so boring. It was just hoofball. So yeah, I'll have to give him an honourable mention.
Oh gosh, you've had some bad ones, haven't you? Bill?
Yeah, there's a long list of bad ones, that's for sure. But no, I'm going to agree with Richie Barker. That boy was something else.
Let us know in the comments who you think as well. Next week we're looking at the worst ever Pompey kit that they've had to wear. What's the worst shirt that you've ever seen manufactured for the Pompey side?
I've probably got it, to be honest.
Okay, wear it next week, Sam. Let's see. Right, join us for that, of course. Also, it's Valentine's week this week, so of course it would be remiss of us without doing anything to recognise that. So asking the team to tell us their love stories, not of their partners, but of their love for Pompey. When did they first fall in love? Whose fault was it? What age were they? What was their first game? If we can be quick around this, that'd be amazing. Phil, as a veteran in the room.
Yeah, a long time ago. it's my eldest brother's fault, actually, who, as it turns out, is actually a Chelsea fan, but that's another story altogether. But no, he was probably the most responsible for it. First game was probably back mid to late 80s, I think, against Millwall at home. What an introduction that was. But I guess staying away from Pompey for so long, though, most of my time was spent following it on teletext on a Saturday afternoon. I'm sure I'm age again. So, but yeah, there's probably a few. I think actually when I really, really fell in love with it was when I was able to start taking my boy. So his first home game was in the Championship against Watford in 2010, and we did the old League One, League Two away tour around the north of England.
Brilliant.
The stunning sights of Hartlepool and Carlisle and Fleetwood. So yeah, it's been a long journey, but yeah, it's been fun. So wouldn't have it any other way.
Okay, Sam M.
I think my first game was Birmingham at home in the FA Cup. I think 2010 it was. It was a year where we lost to Chelsea in the final. Yeah, Dad's fault getting me into it, but I wouldn't change it. Me and my brother and my dad go. So it's a good time out.
Jake?
Yeah, my dad as well. So I was born in hospital around the corner from Fratton Park, and he actually showed me the floodlights as a 1 minute old baby. But yeah, I started going when I was 3. So he used to just lift me over the turnstiles for the first 10 years. So I was very young. Grimsby at home was my first game. We lost 1-0. Jack Lester scored. Don't know if anyone remembers him. So I should have known then that it was going to be a long, painful experience. But yeah, it's great. I love it.
Yeah, you get reported to child services these days, can't you? For stuff like that. Yeah. Sasha?
Yeah, my dad as well. When my mum was pregnant with me, he used to make her go to Pompey games to make sure I was born as a Pompey fan, and apparently I used to beat in time for the Blue Army. Went to my first game, 31st of August 2013, Chesterfield at home. Got battered, played terribly, lost 2-0. And for some reason, I thought I loved it. And I've been to, I think, every single home game but one since. So yeah, that's his fault.
Think how many chimes of that bell you've heard in that time, Sasha. It's amazing. Even in the womb, you're listening to the Pompey chimes. Yeah. Sam, what about you?
It's probably late 90s. I used to go with my dad and my granddad, and we used to go to every home game before I moved over to Canada. I fell in love with it. And I remember watching Steve Claridge play, and then I used to go play football a week later, and I had the one sock down, the one sock up, and the referee used to tell me to pull my socks up, and he'd turn around and then I'd just put my sock down again. So, it's and I've stuck with the club ever since moving over here, and just thankful for technology that I can follow the club over here as well. So,
brilliant. Okay, no one's ever been divorced for even a year or two, or no?
That's not an option.
No. Okay. No one's got any Southampton fans in the family that you have to put up with. No.
My granddad.
Family.
No, but my granddad, every last 10 minutes of every game, he used to shout. We used to sit in the north stand, and he used to shout at my dad because he was out of there, and he'd "Our Saints getting on," and we're like, "Shut up!" It's not the time. So yeah, that was hilarious.
Brilliant. Okay, let us know your love stories in the comments below. We'll read some of these out next week. Great from all of you. Thank you. Fingers crossed for you this week against Cardiff and Oxford. Big week. Hope it goes well for you. We'll find out, of course, in 7 days' time and review it all with us. Do drop us a subscribe. Do drop us a like. Follow us on these guys on Twitter. You can see all their Twitter handles there as well. And we'll see you in 7 days. Thank you all.